Hi loves, you are welcome to Olives. In this video I'll share with you how I made this agbada kind of neckline. If you're interested and you love to learn, do keep watching. Let's get right into this video. The ash material will be at the front and the printed fabric will be at the back, hence why I have this kind of fabric here. I've joined it by the shoulder. Okay, I've cut different fabrics together, the ash and the printed one, and this is how we are going to go about it. Let's begin drafting. I've gone ahead to cut out a piece of violin which is about 17 to 18 inches of width, and I'm going to fold it into two like this and press it by the center for me to have the crease line and note the center of both the front and the back. Okay, now this is the center. Part of the length is going to serve as the front and part will be at the back. Okay, so the back is about 5 inches and the front is about 14 inches, a total length of 19 inches, and the width again is 17 to 18 inches. So this line I just showed you is the shoulder line, which is also going to align with the shoulder of my fabrics. Okay, also note that I am working on the non-shiny part of my violin. I'm using medium violin. I'll mark from the center front about 5.5 inches like this. Okay, I then moved to the right side of my center line. Okay, I first marked about 4 inches and then I later decided to just use about 4.5 inches, so I remarked it, which is 4.5 inches. My neckline is kind of slanted, so you need to determine the depth of your neckline. Okay, right, but I'm going to square down my 5 inches from the left side and also square down my 4.5 inches from the right side as well, and just put all those lines together. I'll use a depth neck of 7 inches. You can use lesser than that. Now determining that line, I'll put it into a straight line to meet my lines like this. Since I want my neckline to be slanted, I'm going to grab my straight rule and just diagonally slant it however I want it, just like I use the tape. That is how I will use my straight rule and then make that straight line. So I'll take it from one corner to the other. All right, I want the neckline right there to have a scalloped edge, so I'm going to divide the distance I have here by the number of scallop edges I want. Okay, so then I have about 3 inches, so I'm going to mark 3 inches this way, 6, 9, and then I have 12. I have a total of 12, and then I'll divide each of these 3 inches space into two, so that's 1.5 inches, and I'm using this green marker to denote the midpoint. So on top of each of these midpoints, which is my green line or my green mark, I'll mark about 3/4 inch. You can as well do 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'll mark 3/4 inch here, all midpoint 3/4, and the last one 3/4. I went ahead again to come down about 1/4 inch on each of the 3 inches line I had marked with my pencil like this, and all I'm going to do is to use my curve to connect all these points together. Okay, the beginning from the neck, I'll make sure it meets the 3/4 inch. Okay, I'm using my armhole curve, and also make sure that the curve meets my 1/4 inch down on my first 3 inches. I'll curve it this way, continue, make sure the armhole curve meets each of these points like this, and just follow the shape. So that's all I'll be doing for each of these points. Here is how it looks like. I went ahead to also shape this side. You can also decide to leave it as straight as it is, but I decided to curve it, and this is what I came up with. I went ahead to curve this pointed part to make it in a form of a curve like this. And after doing this, I did not buy it. I didn't really like how it looked like, so I decided to use my green marker, and then I made a new shape which I just went for like that. I then used a cutter around the shape I created. After which I passed my head through the space I created so I could kind of identify whether my head can pass through easily or not, because this is the only opening. All right, so now we have to move on to how we want the design on both the front and back to look like. I marked from the shoulder about 4 inches. Okay, I wanted that point to also be slanted. Okay, that's 5 inches. All right, so from here I mark 3 inches, that's from the center to the right side. I then mark another 3 inches from the first 3 inches. All I'm doing is to create the kind of shape I want to go for. Okay, so I'm going to connect this point up to the shoulder line. I'll do same to this side. Oops, that was a mistake. So I'll use that 3 inches mark and connect it to the 5 inches like this. Yeah, so this is the shape I am going for. You can also mark about 1.5 inch from the hem like this, and also slant it to this point, which means that however you want your shape to look like, you do so. Okay, I'm also going to go for a kind of V neckline for my back. That's the back side of my shape. Okay, just came down by almost 1 inch from the shoulder towards the back and connected it to the center of the back. So literally this is the shape I have. I'll pick my piece of fabric together. Okay, and I'm going to place the shiny part of my violin. I'll place it on the wrong side of my fabrics and also align the shoulder line together with the shoulder seam line of my fabric as well. I then went ahead to press it and fuse this violin on it this way. And all I'm going to do is to cut around the shape that I have drawn. So here is what I have. So this is a piece of design which is also going to help me create my neckline on my dress. Currently the dress does not have a neckline. All right, so this is the plain shoulder and this is also the center. I've also ironed the center of the main dress so you could see the crease line. All right, so what I'm going to do is to place my piece, how do I even name it, my neckline, and meet the center to the center. I mean center front to center front, center back to center back, and shoulder line to shoulder line. All right, so I'm going to place it just as I have explained and pin them together. So when I take this to the machine, I'm just going to follow the shape of my neckline and just stitch something small like about 1/4 inch round. The moment I was ready to sew, I realized that I made a huge mistake, which was that I had to place the right side of my neckline to the wrong side of my dress. And what I did first was to place the right side of my neckline to the right side of my dress, which was wrong. Okay, what I'm doing is correcting that mistake. This is the wrong side, so you could see the shoulder line, that's the excess, the allowance of the shoulder line showing, but I made sure that the right side was facing it. All right, and still align the shoulder to the shoulder seam line, the center to the center of the dress as well. Then all I'm going to do is still walk around or stitch around the neckline. All right, Having done that, this is how it looks like. What I'm going to do next is to grab part of the neck space, my neckline space, like this, unfold and cut, and then I'll cut through. Also cut around the shape of my neckline and just take the whole excess off. I'll go ahead to notch this corner, okay, and also go ahead to notch around my scalloped edge, especially the tiny corners. Make sure you notch them, and all I'm going to do is to turn or flip my neckline or my neck piece to the right side of my dress. If you watch the first part of this dressmaking, I explained that I would advise that you do not have a shoulder seam, okay, on your main dress, and this is why I said so. If I turn to the right side, I tend to see part of my shoulder allowance or the excess at the wrong side, I mean at the right side, and which is what I'm trying to trim off, okay, which is not a good thing. But what I did was to trim it off. I just cut through and trimmed it off and use a lighter to just burn the excess. Melting or burning will prevent the rough side showing from fraying. So please have your shoulder seam line unfold, or make sure it is made with French seam. This way the rough side of the seam will not really show on the right side. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and understitch on my scalloped edge. That's the wrong side, the other side, or you can as well top stitch. Okay, I went ahead to make a little trim off from here. All right, now I'm going to use this hemming sleeve. I always don't know the right word for this, but I'm just going to place it beneath my piece like this. Okay, what I intend doing is folding the excess in, just a little excess in, and then as I fold the excess in, I'll place the sticky gum beneath it and also press it with a steam iron so it sticks in place. Okay, I'm going to do this round. I'll do the same thing to the back as well. Yeah, so that's literally what I'm going to do, and when I'm done with this, I'll make a top stitch, which I've already made. So this is my top stitch, and this is how neat it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do now, having my neckline in my pocket ready, I'm going to place my dress right sides facing. I've already serged the rough sides, so I'm just going to pin them together. Remember, my side seam allowance is ½ inch, so I'm going to stitch with just ½ inch. I'll repeat the same thing here as well. So this is what I have. This is how my neckline looks like, and here is also my single welt pocket. I also went ahead to work on the hem of my sleeve. I also worked on the hem of my dress, and yeah, this is how it looks like. As you have watched this video till the end, I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed watching, give this video a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel if you are yet to. Turn on notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.